Dear educators, welcome to Storytime with Kate. Today I was going to cover new resource or relatively new that might be very useful for you, especially if you are working with young children and you want to extend your understanding of how to use the research and evidence-based documents to improve your written observations. So buckle up and get ready to learn. This resource is created by a company that I like. So this is from eduresearch.edu.au or Australian Education Research Organization. So we do need this website so you can save not just the user guide for trajectories, but you also can download separate trajectories for executive functions, mathematical knowledge, physical development, and you will find this very, very useful, and language and communication. As you can see, this guide will help you to use AERO, or AERO, Early Childhood Learning Trajectories. We're gonna call them trajectories, okay? So I think we're gonna call them, yes, trajectories. Why these trajectories are important? So in my opinion, they can extend on developmental milestones, the document that I have a video about. It might extend on the EYLF documents that you probably are using right now. And in my opinion, you also might find useful this document for other things. Yeah. Such as more specific focus on executive functions, and that's clickable, social emotional learning, mathematical thinking, language and communication, and physical development. So these trajectories describe child's progress in a single domain from beginning knowledge to more advanced and finally to quite developed. So that's why I think this language of these learning trajectories will be quite useful for all of us, particularly if you don't know how to describe the skill as progression. So that really matches EYLF planning cycle, strengths-based approach, growth mindset, and all the modern approaches to assessment and planning. So while learning trajectories, as I said, describe learning across one domain, such as executive functions, which could be compared to cognitive development, social and emotional learning as two domains in one, then mathematical thinking separate trajectory. Language communication, of course, is language and communication domain. But as you can see, here we have physical development separately from all the other four, and you will find that all this language might be somewhat old, but you also will meet a lot of new concepts if you haven't seen this document before. It definitely aligns with EYLF or Early Learning Years framework, I can guarantee that. And you can find EYLF principles, practice, planning cycle outcomes, and mentioned in here. So here we go. Let's start from the EYLF principles. So now there are 8 principles. So that's the updated version, right? And as you can see, that this document aligns with secure, respectful, reciprocal relationships, partnerships, respect for diversity, critical reflection, ongoing learning, and collaborative leadership and teamwork. I encourage you to read through, and especially if you're an educational leader, you can share it with your team. So then we can look at practices. So we have 7 practices now. Before we had 5, 8, 5, as I used to say. Now we have 8, 7, 5. That's easier to remember. So 8 principles, 7 practices, 5 outcomes. And you can see that it links to play-based learning and intentionality. I'd say intentional teaching, as it used to be called intentionality now, a very important part of this document. I'd say it is very, very significant. Why? Because you are going to set the goals. You're not just analyzing learning, you are analyzing learning looking through the lens of zone of proximal development, or ZPD. If you don't know what zone of proximal development is, I encourage you to check my video on Vygotsky and check many videos that I created on how to use Rogoff lenses or ZPD for your observations. But you can see that there are connections with other practices as well, not just play-based learning, intentionality, and assessment and evaluation for learning, because you definitely will be using it in assessments, but also responsiveness to children, because if you know what child's thinking, you know your students, and this aligns to teaching standards. Standard number 1, know students how they learn, and you are able to plan for and implement effective teaching and learning as well. As you can see, a lot of crossovers between documents, but this one is often overlooked. So you can also think about learning environments that support mathematical thinking, right? You can think of cultural responsiveness, and when you support mathematical thinking, you can encourage community to share culturally suitable resources for math. For example, sticks, shells, if you using first people knowledge and you are applying it to your program. Continuity of learning and transitions. Of course, you will be able to inform the new teacher in the other room, and you might collaborate with primary teachers about child's learning. So it's pretty cool. I think it's really interconnected. And of course, this resource supports holistic, integrated, and interconnected learning. Yeah. So this is all about approaches to learning. So now new EYLF practice encourages us to look at learning holistically. And as you can see, although there are different resources, you definitely will use them to create a holistic picture of the child. Yeah, and share it through your summative assessment, through your transition statements, and share it as you go with parents and families. So think about this resource as aligned with learning cycle, planning cycle from the EYLF. You can see on the slide, observe, assess, plan, implement, evaluate. So at the stage of observe, these learning trajectories provide you with opportunity to look what to look for in relation to different aspects of child's learning development and well-being. So here you're going to collect information about the child. For example, when it comes to executive functions, working memory, cognitive flexibility, you're going to be looking at mathematical thinking, physical development, fundamental movement skills, and all the other things that we'll further analyze. At the stage of assess, that's the second stage here, you will be able to add a very good analysis, and I know how much we struggle with words, what to add in this analysis section, and this will give you very good words that you can use and copy, and excellent extensions in my opinion. Plan as well, so you will be able to set goals to extend on children's learning, development, and well-being. And of course, these trajectories, learning trajectories resource will help you with intentionality, right? So you will have intentional teaching strategies for each of these. For example, executive functions, they do offer some games to support working memory and support impulse control, right? So or inhibitory control, so we can call impulse control. Of course, you will use evaluate stage. Yeah, that's the last stage of the planning cycle, and we have 5 of them to assist you with unanticipated outcomes. For example, during these experiences that you set up for mathematical thinking, you might find that children responded well to some unusual experiences, or they brought in some knowledge that you didn't expect, and that's when you will add something that you've learned as a teacher. All right? So I absolutely recommend to download this and print it. And as you read the resource, and I'm going to make a video and I will write for each of these learning trajectory domains my own comments. And that is something for you to keep watching for. I will talk about executive functions and how you can match them to outcome number one. Children have strong sense of identity. Children are connected and to and contribute to their world. Children have a strong sense of well-being. Children are confident and involved learners. Finally, children are effective communicators. So you will add notes as you go, thinking about how you can support each learning across domains for each of the 5 outcomes. Isn't that amazing? So you also can choose one trajectory. That's what we will do in this series of videos. We're gonna go with each one, and I will suggest some experiences that I had, maybe share my own ideas, and we'll learn with you as well. So remember that Storykate is a community of learners. I would definitely highlight words. That's what we're here for. Words and ideas for extensions. Yes, how you can, what you can observe, what you can collect information on, what can you use in your observations, and then once you highlight these words, start using them next day or next week or on your next placement. You also will use them to interpret observations that you already collected. If you have old observations, you will be able to use them. And then you, of course, will learn multiple learning trajectories. That's what my videos will be about. They will cover all of them. Excuse me. And if you have a video of child's play, you can watch this video and see different domains interplay. For example, you will see mathematical thinking, you will see physical development, you will see social and emotional learning, and you will see indicators of mathematical thinking and, of course, executive functions. That would be our final video when we all will watch recording of video and we all will try, maybe it will be a live video, to actually analyze what's happening there and how domains are interconnected. And this goes back to holistic integrated approaches. Yeah? So you also can identify opportunities to enhance your curriculum. Yes, so which means that to plan the next stage, to plan for the child, to set the goals. Isn't that amazing? You don't need to go anywhere. EYLF and this resource and maybe milestones will support you in everything you do, plus EYLF. These are 4 documents that I will take with me on planning. And then you will also evaluate and reflect on how well you are meeting each child's needs and how are you supporting their learning using at least this progressive line that trajectories have. So you also will be able to see the connection to the outcomes, and I already covered that. So you will definitely use trajectories for that. And here we go. Now I'll show you what the trajectories look like. I will choose one. I'm not gonna go in depth. I will just show you, and that will be the end of the video. Next video will be about executive functions. Then we'll cover social and emotional learning, then mathematical thinking, then language and communication, and finally, physical development. Okay, so let's open this resource. Okay, page not found. So I managed to open this mathematical thinking. So you can see that it talks about patterns and predictions. So that's mathematical thinking domain, patterns and predictions, shapes and spatial thinking, measurement and data, quantity and counting. As my previous live video was on mathematical thinking, we can look at, let's say, quantity and counting, and you can see here that they have represent quantity symbolically, count objects, and say or sign number words in the correct sequence. And you can use that when you work with this number line that I was talking about. And as you can see, this shows change as child develops and grows from here to the more advanced represents increasingly large quantities, beginning to use numerals as well as objects or drawings. And same here, says or signs number words, yes, so running into one another in a sing-song way, such as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then counts verbally or recites number words back from 10. I do it with all my preschoolers, and if you don't know how, you can watch my video on numbers. But that's pretty much the one of the trajectories. I just wanted to show you what it looks like. Fabulous resource. You will use all these expressions. Love how it's color coded as well. And then you can set goals using that. So more detailed video on this domain is to follow. Meanwhile, this was about learning trajectories from Australian Education Research Organization, and the website is edresearch.edu.au, which I will put in the description below. If you like this video or you're already working with learning trajectories, leave the comment under this video and let's discuss how you are using it for your assessments. Bye for now. Don't forget to share and subscribe.